investors, my name is Brian Strain and I'm going to show you how to find trades super fast and super easy using our odds online software. So in this tutorial, I'm going to show you another path to find trades when you know the strategy you want to use, but you don't know which stock to use it on. So let's get started by selecting our strategy. The covered call strategy is the most popular option strategy by far, so we'll use that one. We're going to start this path to a trade with the strategy wizard. We're going to use odds online to create the same kind of reports that an equity derivatives desk would create for their advisors at a place like Merrill Lynch, Goldman Sachs, or JP Morgan. And you can do all this with just a few clicks. So when you click on the strategy wizard tile, we're taken to the forecaster. This is where you would start if you had a directional forecast. In our case, we just have a strategy. While strategies do have directional biases, there are some neutral strategies as well. In our case, we are going to click on the Show All tile. This gives us a selection of the most common strategies to choose from. Since we're looking for covered calls, I click on the covered call icon. Now Odds Online remembers my settings from the last time I used this report, and it grabs the trades it thinks I want to see, but I can change these settings at any time, and it'll remember my last settings for the next time. I want to find a covered call on an S&P 500 stock, so I'm selecting the index from my watch list. Now I can select the columns of data that I want to see. If I click on the display icon, I get a list of all the available data. I have the data already selected that I think is most advantageous. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and click on Advantage here. That gives us the percent move up where the covered call has an advantage over the buying the stock. And that's the only thing I'm going to change. In the next tile, right here in the next option, we have Over Under. I like call overriding better than I like underwriting. You can do both. I'm going to just choose override again. This is where you can really help zoom in on specifically what you're looking for. Since this strategy involves buying the stock and my account isn't $100 million yet, I'm going to limit my stock prices to $100. I can do that by either typing in 100 here or by dragging the slider bar around. I'm just going to go back and type in 100. And the list gets updated. You can see that happens live in the background. I want my days to expiration till the options expire to be 30 to 90 days. I'm going to leave my break-even percent wide open, my advantage wide open. Probability, on a covered call, you should be able to get something a little better than 50-50 because that's what the stock is, just 50-50. So I'm going to go ahead and put my minimum probability at 60%. I want to have a little bit of an advantage in probability. Static return, that's if the stock doesn't move at all, how much do we make? I'm going to leave that open. I'm going to put in a static annualized return. So this is the static return. You can do one or both of these, either static return or static annualized. Annualized just takes the static return, divides it by the number of days in the trade, and then multiplies that by 365 to give us our static annualized return. I'm going to just leave that in there at 12%. And an expected return, if you don't know what that is, it is the probability weighted expectation. So it takes your risk reward and balances that with probability to find out what your probable expectations are, what your expected outcome should be when you balance risk reward and probability. So I want my expected return to be at least 2. Call return I'm going to leave wide open. Annualized return I'm going to leave wide open. Called return and called annualized are just different ways of looking at the maximum profit if the stock goes up and my stock gets called away. So I'm going to leave those wide open. And then when I go to trade selection, now this is where things get kind of fancy. So I can choose the number of trades that I want to see on an individual stock. So if I wanted to see 3 covered call trades per stock, I can do that. And if I click on enter there, you'll see that I now have 3 trades on each. They might not be necessarily in order, but well, they are. So I didn't get quite 3 on some of these stocks because they didn't meet my criteria that I put in my filter. But you can see I got 3 American Airlines. I'm going to go back to 1 here because I really only want the best trade on each stock that I'm looking at. I can choose the sort direction. Sort direction and selection priority work hand in hand. They work collaboratively. Selection priority tells Odds Online what it needs to value the most, what I'm most interested in. I could say I want the greatest expected return. I could say I want the greatest called return. I could say a number of different things here. The best advantage. To me, the static annualized return is the most important thing to me. So I'm leaving greatest static annualized return. And there's my list. Now, the sort direction in here doesn't necessarily mean that the trades are going to come out here as being pre-sorted by my selection priority. They're all in alphabetical order. They're all in alphabetical order over here. So the sort direction is just applying to that one individual stock for the one trade that it's going to show me in this particular case. So I'm going to click on my static annualize. We have these little buttons up here that I can click on, and I click twice on there to sort. Now I've sorted all these trades, and now I have the one with the greatest static annualized return at the top, AMD. So I can analyze that trade now, and there's my covered call on AMD. Now I can save this trade, which I'm going to do. I've saved that trade because I saw some other names on the list that I also like. I really like MU, so I want to save that trade. Get all my Greeks over here, my probability of profit, my net debit per contract, all that kind of stuff. Click Save Trades. I'm looking down. I don't need to look any further. I like those 2 trades right off the bat. They've given me the best static annualized return. And now I can go to the Me section of our page, click on the My Saved Trades up here at the top, and I can see I have AMD and MU in my list. And I can actually compare those side by side and see which one I like the most. Now I really like MU, but the net debit on that one is $41.60. The net debit on this one over here on AMD is $25.49. So this one costs a little bit less. It has a higher probability of success. I can compare those 2 things right away. Same number of trading days. It costs less, has a higher probability. I think that's my win right there. So now I'm going to click back out of here. I'm going to go ahead and delete the MU trade, and I'm going to save the AMD trade. And when I come back later, leaving this in my saved trades, when I come back later, I'll be able to click on this historical performance icon and actually get a report that shows me how the trade's been doing. To give you an idea of how that looks, I'm going to go here and click on my Garmin trade that I did a while ago, a straddle. And you can see it took a little dip for a while, but it's finally making some moves and it's into profit now. That's what the historical profit loss graph looks like. All right, so now you've seen how this works. I'm going to go back here real quick, and I'm going to show you just how fast I can get to that same trade. If I've already taught Odds Online what I want to find, and I want to go ahead and find a trade again using the same thing, I remember I know my strategy that I want to use. I'm going to show you how fast I can get back to that trade. Strategies. show all, covered call, list selection, S&P 500, submit. Boom, there I go. Now I'm going to sort. There's my AMD. There's the trade. I can save it. That's it. Super fast, super easy, super powerful. We'll see you next time.